the failure of climate policy so far, and you can't see it as anything other than a failure, I think it speaks to this commitment to rationality untutored by underlying sort of moral liberal commitments. And it also pushes us in another direction that I think is uncomfortable for liberals, and that is to think more seriously about technology and technological innovation. Because in fact, if we are going to provide all the energy that the world needs, including the billions who at this point don't have access to reliable energy, and we're going to do so while moving towards a decarbonized energy system, then we're going to need a completely different technological infrastructure. And that's going to require a lot of technological innovation. It's not going to happen instantly. This is a decades to half-century long program. But the focus has to be on a kind of acceleration, catalysis of innovation processes related to energy. It's tempting to say, well, that's just a technological fix for a problem that's social in origin. But the problem is modern societies, any societies, do not have a very good history of addressing problems that are social in origin through modifying the behavior of their populations. This, in fact, has typically been a source of tragedy and disaster when there are whole-scale efforts to modify social and cultural behaviors to accomplish particular goals. Technology, on the other hand, it's certainly got its downsides. It creates problems. It can be exploited for reasons of concentration of power and wealth. All those things are true. Nonetheless, what technology has going for it is a capacity to increase our ability to accomplish certain things with incredible reliability. And if you look at what the trajectories of particular areas of technology are, those trajectories are almost always towards better performance, more reliability, and lower price. And this is sort of built into the logic of technological innovation. And until that's taken seriously at the core, as part of the core of the climate change agenda on the energy side, we're not going to be able to make significant progress there. And why this ought to be appealing to liberals is that this allows us to think about the energy equity question at the same time as it allows us to think about the climate change question. And it allows us to imagine a path for progress on both, which really was not the case in this science-led climate agenda. So part of the lesson of the failure of climate policy is more focus on adaptation because that's something that's politically galvanizing and also, I think, both morally and practically necessary. And the other is a recognition that technology and technological innovation is in many ways the most powerful tool for social change that we have. And yes, it can be abused, and yes, it can turn around and bite you in the butt. But nonetheless, it's the one area of human endeavor where we know that we can build in continual improvement over time. And we've got to take that seriously and make that part of the core of the climate change agenda. You know, it goes without saying that climate change as framed, that is, science dictating a rationality for moving forward, has been incredibly politically divisive. And something I've been arguing for years is that both adaptation and an agenda around technological innovation have much more potential for bringing in diverse coalitions. First of all, you know, as I said earlier, the adaptation agenda is one that everyone can relate to. It really cuts across ideological lines because everyone experiences potentially the negative effects of, say, natural disasters and can understand why societies need to protect against those. Innovation similarly has a very broad reach because part of a technology innovation agenda related to energy is going to create a lot of wealth for the people who are involved in that innovation agenda. And wealth creation and economic growth obviously is very important to the way conservatives understand potentially the role of government. Government has been incredibly important in stimulating innovation in the last 50 to 60 years. And I think that's a message that can really bring people of different ideological stripes together. The problem is that the well has been poisoned on the climate change agenda at the moment, and I think it's going to be very difficult to convince conservatives that moving for climate change to an innovation agenda isn't just a Trojan horse for the kind of lifestyle issues that conservatives fear were what was really at stake in the prior climate change framing. So there's going to be a need to reach out to conservatives or to alienated people in the middle around innovation. But I think the logic of it is very, very appealing, ought to be very attractive to broad constituency, and I think is the thing that offers us the most hope as a way of politically reframing the issue and defusing the real kind of political hot button that climate change has been, and turning it instead into an opportunity for linking different notions of progress, of social progress, to an issue that's going to become increasingly important. And so I don't think it's Pollyannish to think that this can be done, at least in theory. I think the most difficult challenge at this point is to wean the conventional environmental community and the politics around that off of a failed model and bring them around so that they will accept a model that is in fact much more encompassing of political diversity.